You're listening to Small Business Talk with Jerry. Sit in on great conversations with entrepreneurs who risk everything chasing the American dream.
Hey everybody, Small Business Talk with Jerry. I'm Jerry. Today we have Dr. Lai and May. Introduce yourself, guys. Kind of tell everyone who you are.
Yeah, Dr. Jerry Lai. I'm a podiatrist from Rochester Clinic, right here in Rochester, Minnesota.
My name is May Liu, and I am the wife of Jan Yu. I'm also the founder of a Lotus Health Foundation.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for coming out. Hope you're excited. I think this will be fun. Get out there in front of people. So, where are you from? Let's start there.
Mm-hmm.
We're from Taiwan.
Okay.
But people usually like to ask us, where did we meet?
Okay.
Let's
start there.
Yeah, we both were from Taiwan, but we actually met in Eugene, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in the U.S. Okay.
Yes.
How long ago was that?
Do I need to say?
Don't tell May.
Okay, don't tell me. I think it was 34 years ago.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, how did we get from, we started in Taiwan, we got to Oregon. How do we get to Rochester?
Well, I think the story get back to at the time when I arrived in Eugene, Oregon. I stayed with my uncle and aunt. They stayed there. So we both had the same goal to get into the graduate school. He wants to go to the medical school, and I was looking for MBA program because we both graduate from college in Taiwan. After 1.5 years, then I followed him to Tucson, Arizona, because he went to the pre-med. I went to the pre-graduate class. So, and then after a year in Tucson, Arizona.
Well, I think that's because in Oregon, I was trying to apply to medical school. I really didn't know how to apply. And finally, I had a talk with a pre-med advisor, and she looked at me and said, honestly, I never had a foreigner in my program. I really don't know what to do. That's the reason I moved to Tucson, Arizona, to University of Arizona.
Wow.
Right, and then from there, I had a friend talk with the pre-med advisor, and she basically say, you're a foreigner. You don't even have a green card. And you didn't go to college in U.S. You got 2 strikes against you. It's very tough to go to medical school here unless you're willing to do PhD first. I love research. That was always my goal. But now thinking, PhD of 5 years and then go to medical school. I say, well, what are the alternatives? And she was like, do you want to go back to Taiwan after you graduate from medical school? I say, I'm just here for 2 years. How would I know? Most likely I would. And then she said, well, then you're not going to DO school. I said, what's DO school? And so she explained DO is the same as MD in the US, but it's not recognized outside America. However, podiatry, DPM, is recognized outside America. And I was like, are you sure? So I checked with the education department in Taiwan. Sure, they did not recognize DO, but they did recognize DPM.
Okay.
And then the premier advisor say, it's a new field, you like research, there's tons of opportunities for research. And that's how I got.
Mm-hmm. And then we decide to go to Des Moines, Iowa, because you were accepted by the school.
Well, I was accepted to multiple schools, but first of all, we didn't like California because didn't feel like in America. Well, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
And secondly, when we went to the interview in Des Moines, there was light snow. We'd never seen that. In Taiwan, you could only see snow once in a while in a very high mountain. So it was so rare for us. We too were just walking around the hotel, looking at the snow. We're so happy. And when I went to the interview, and the secretary looked at me and said, could I take your coat? And I said, what coat? And she was like, you don't have a coat? I said, no, why? But we just love the snow, we love the weather. And
so yeah, we decided to stay in. He got accepted to the now it's called Des Moines University.
Okay.
Yes, and so I also was accepted by their healthcare administration program. That's a graduate school program. We love we love it in the Midwest because we got to see the four seasons.
Yeah.
Then
People are nicer.
yeah,
I would say mostly.
Mostly. Yeah, mostly.
Yeah, polite. So then you got an opportunity to come to Mayo Clinic.
Right. I really love research, but there was, well, don't want to get into that, but I really like research. So even the first year of podiatry school, I was doing research. And then when I was going to the clinical, the third year, I started my PhD in microbiology at Iowa State University at the same time. I was traveling between Ames and Des Moines
Okay.
for that. So after my residency, I was trying to see what to do, but it's by chance that someone at Mayo Clinic got a hold of my CV and invited me for an interview here. And the story was, I was actually just got denied a postdoc position at a Massachusetts General Hospital because the director found out that I was a podiatrist, not an MD.
Ah.
So he said, you could have a job here as soon as you finish your PhD. And I was 1 year away. And so when I got the invitation to come to Mayo Clinic, honestly, I had no idea what Mayo Clinic was.
Oh.
I'm a foreigner.
Sure.
So I checked it out and said, like, wow, the orthopedic at Mass General was number 2 at that time. And the number 2 program told me to wait until I finish my PhD. The number 1 program invited me for an interview. I'm just like, what is the chance? What's the odds?
Right.
I said,
What year was this?
1999.
Okay.
So I say, okay, I'm pretty busy. I can be there in the afternoon. So I came here. 2 director interviewed me, took me to dinner. I believe it was Michael's. And then there they say, okay, you got a job.
Just like that.
Just like that. I look at them and said,
Fantastic.
really? And then they will try to be funny. They say, well, unless you couldn't find your way back to Des Moines. And I say, it's not fair. And they say, what do you mean not fair? I say, it's the first time I came here. How do I know I won't get lost? Yeah. They told me, like, fine, follow me. Just Broadway, go all the way down.
Just keep going.
Yeah, that's how we end up here.
Well, so they were a great mentor to us.
Yes.
So that helped us to really establish a root right here. Our 2 children actually were born in Des Moines, but they love Rochester,
Yes.
and this is a very nice place to raise kids. We have a lot of things accomplished. We both were very busy working parents. After graduate from Des Moines University, I had a very high responsibility job at a 2 nonprofit organization, a finance director. So after that, because of the hiring freeze from Mayo Clinic, and so then you start your a journey.
Right. I did a 3-year fellowship in physical medicine rehab. At that time, I think the consensus was I would stay in Mayo. So they checked my license at the beginning of my 3-year fellowship. However, no, I finished 3 years. That means it's 2002. That's right. A few months after September 11th.
Oh.
And then a few months before I finished my fellowship, I check. I say, where's my contract? And then they said, well, there's hiring freeze. I said, why didn't tell me? And I was told that, oh, it's new. We don't know what to do. I said, great. I never looked for a job.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So then you actually started your career to go to nursing home, assisted living.
Right. Because the thinking was, I will keep my research at Mayo, and then I'll just work outside and wait for hiring freeze to be lifted. And the easiest way for me was going to nursing homes.
Sure.
So at that time, there was very few providers going to nursing homes. I could just go there, and then schedule was flexible. I could still go back in the afternoon, evening, weekends to the lab to do my research. And that's how I started out.
And you also be able to be flexible on your schedule to pick up our young children. So when I was working,
with school and events and sports and
So I think I consider we are very hard worker. To have our career here and to chase the dream in this country.
It's gotta be terrifying. I mean, I think if I went somewhere when I was younger and didn't have the experience. Today, it wouldn't bother me to go to another country and do something. But boy, I think back 30 years ago, I'd have been terrifying. So, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Exactly. Just like when the kids were going to college, anything, we were so worried, where are you going? And then I was thinking, well, we're so far away from our parents. We never thought about how they feel.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what that does to the family.
So I think another thing is we want to bring the story back to current. That
Yeah, when did you guys start? When did this turn into Rochester Clinic?
yeah.
I think from the beginning, I always believe that podiatry is a part of whole body, whole person. You cannot do a very good podiatry care just looking at the foot and ankle.
Sure.
You have to look at the whole person. I always had that, but at that time didn't have the idea of a so-called whole person care. But as I was going to long-term care facilities, I saw the needs in the community for the for private practice. There was no private practice in town, and one thing that got into me was people with diabetes are qualified for diabetic shoes. One pair of shoes a year, and 3 pairs of insoles, something like that. But their physician had to sign the form. And when I sent the form to their primary care doctor, they denied. They said, I haven't seen the patient for years. I cannot sign for it. And then I went back to the facility. They have been signing their medication, renew their medication every 6 months or 12 months, depending on their setting. And they're okay with that, but cannot sign for the shoes.
Yeah.
It's too dangerous.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I started have the insurance company would tell their beneficiary to call me because they couldn't get into a provider, and they call me. They want to see me. I say, I don't have an office, and that's how I feel that there's really a need for the community, and that's how I decided to open up the clinic.
And I think at that time you also, was because you were frustrated with I think the frustration was that we didn't have any provider truly can work closely with you to provide the integrative care, because for the foot care, you also care about their, for example, that for diabetes, you want to make sure that their diabetes glucose is under control. But you were at a point frustrated about that, and so at that time, your dream was to have a clinic be able to really provide the whole person approach integrative care.
Right. So when we open up, besides podiatry, we also have family medicine, psychiatry, and Chinese medicine.
Okay.
Yeah. However, I think after after years of a practice, it's kind of we try anything that we can. Our goal was to help people optimize their health. We also need to consider the insurance that really have a say about what you can do, what you cannot do,
Right.
the reimbursement tie into that. Until 1 year, I think it was about 2 years later after we opened the clinic, and there was a physician, Dr. Thomas Harmon, retired from Mayo Clinic, family medicine, and then he knocked on the door and say, I have a practice, it's prescribing enough medication for 4 decades. Would you like to have a physician here? Do you need that to practice lifestyle medicine? So that was the introduction of a lifestyle medicine to us.
Well, I think a lot of people, and again, I have no medical experience at all, other than just what I've been through myself. But to try and relate as a layperson, you hear a lot of people that are, you go to the Mayo Clinic, and not to bash Mayo Clinic, they've been good to me for the most part, but it's you go in, you get your diagnosis, you either get a surgery or you get a pill, or you get medicated, or you get surgery, and then surgery is always going to come with medication, and anything that isn't a pill or an injection isn't real medicine. And then you get the other side of the coin, where people are like, oh, you can't go to a doctor. This is holistic. We're, all natural, whatever that. But then they don't believe in the actual hospitals or the medical profession.
Right.
what I love about you guys is, I mean, I believe obviously that the MDs, the doctors, the hospitals, the injections, the medication, I believe most of that has its place and it's necessary. Then you go to the other side, the people that are deathly against going to a hospital or a doctor, and they think we can do this all with, home remedies and things. I think there's some validity to that too, of course. And I look at what you guys have done with Rochester Clinic is you don't say no to anything until you know it doesn't work. If there's a combination of we can do this without medication, let's use some medication to get you under control, then can we switch to a better diet and work on those? Because let's be honest, better diet, that doesn't usually happen overnight. I mean, that's a lifestyle change. And so I just love that fact that you're so open-minded and still don't discredit the medical profession at the same time, but just realize it's not the fix-all. There's no magic pill.
Right.
So, I mean, I just, and for me personally, I've been to the clinic. I was at Mayo Clinic today, as a matter of fact. And where my auto shop is, Mayo Clinic is like 5 blocks away. For me to get there, and like I had a hip replaced, a month ago. And so I couldn't walk at that point. I couldn't walk, prior to that, I couldn't walk to the clinic. I'd have to drive, park in a ramp, and I don't know that I walked much less from their parking ramp, but I had to leave my work 30 minutes ahead of time to get time to just drive a few blocks, park in a ramp, get down, get in the building, through the subway, and then find my 14th floor C desk or whatever, get checked in. You guys are 2 miles away from me, probably, I would guess, somewhere in there. When I need to come see you, I leave 5 or 10 minutes before my appointment. I drive 2 miles. I pull in your parking lot. I park 8 feet, 12 feet from the door. If I'm in the opposite of the parking lot, I'm 60 feet from your door. And I walk in and the desk is 10 feet from the door and I see you guys and we go do our thing. I mean, it's just so convenient. And I couldn't be convinced that the care is anything less than what I'm getting there, other than when I walk in, they have to look up my clinic number. When I walk in, you say, "Hi, Jerry."
Yes.
There's something to that, to not be a number.
Yeah.
So I think what you guys have going on is fantastic. Tell everybody your address, where you are.
It's 3070 Walnut Drive, Northeast. So it's 1 block off Broadway. So 37th Street and Broadway North.
Yep, and they're just for the locals, for the Rochester locals, the Whistle Binkies on the north side. You're just literally
back to back.
Yep, back to back you're on the south side.
Right.
So you're right there. So if you're going to Whistle Binkies, the turn before Whistle Binkies is Rochester Clinic, and it's such a fantastic spot.
Great, thank you. So I want to go back to the alternative medicine.
Yeah.
People said that. When people talk to me that I don't take medications, I only take supplements, vitamins, I always like to remind them that those are medications.
Sure.
Those are not food. Those are medication. Even food is medicine.
Sure.
So I tell them I treat all the supplements same as medication. It's the same thing. Sometimes based on your symptom, we can be lenient and then let you do something before we prescribe. Sometimes it's so severe, we prescribe first and then try to take it back. But
Sure.
vitamin, mineral, they are the same as medication, any medication.
Well, I think of myself, I had diabetic issues this last summer, and I was getting like leg cramps and things. So of course, the first thing everyone says is, drink lots of water, stay hydrated, and then eat a banana. It's like get that potassium going. Well, to your point, if I'm eating a banana because I'm having leg cramps to get potassium, isn't that medication? Right. I mean, essentially that's what I'm. Instead of going to the drugstore and buying a bottle of pills, I'm going to try and get it out of a banana. But I'm still eating a banana to eat a banana. I'm doing it to fix something. Right. So yeah, I mean, I just love the way you guys kind of, my simpleton look at that, and you guys take that to an extreme and really help us decipher what foods I mean, before we're done here, do not let me stop this podcast without talking about the garden. I want to. You
Yes.
need to tell
Yes.
all of our viewers about the
Yeah.
garden. So
Yeah.
we will get to that. I promise. The garden is exciting. But
Yeah.
anyway, back to where you were at when you're talking about the foods and the vitamins. It's a big deal.
Right, right, and that's what we believe. That's why you say we don't want people to discredit medicine. No, we started very hard to go to school. Well, yeah, but we do learn something from there. No, we don't want people just become a Dr. Google.
Right. Right.
Right. So it's not that everything we learn is old-fashioned or anything. Everything is based on science.
Sure.
Yeah.
And actually, I want to make that very clear. Our clinic is in all insurance network. So our nurse practitioner, our Dr. Lai is a podiatrist. We all are in insurance network. They do have the prescription privilege. However, our belief is if we can help people, empower them to understand what the best lifestyle will good for their health, if that approach can help them to reduce the symptom, even reverse. There are a lot of chronic diseases that can be reversed. I would say probably 80% of the medical expenses in this country associated with chronic diseases. If we can all do a little bit for ourselves, we can reduce the medication, eventually can get rid of the medication, then we don't have that much financial burden on all the taxpayer. So that is everybody's responsibility. Another thing is, way back to when Dr. Harmon brought in this lifestyle medicine concept, we dive into that, and that was the first time I learned that the type 2 diabetes can possibly be not only managed under control, but also can put that into remission.
Right.
At that time, my simple understanding as a non-medical person is we even can call reverse it. So then that was really intrigued to me, and we had an opportunity, like Dr. Harmon invite Dr. Jen to go to a conference, and he was kind of very eye-opening for whatever he experienced. That was the Dr. Joe Furman's conference in Chicago.
Right.
And can you kind of give a small highlight on what you witnessed, and then what's your response to me at that time?
First of all, Dr. Joe Furman, people, if you're old enough, you probably remember his name. He was a figure skater before going to medical school. He was probably in his 70s now. So at that time, he was able to talk about exercise. He introduced the idea, the concept that you can exercise without a gym. Your body is a gym. So just use your body, you can exercise. And he demonstrated by jumping up and down the stage.
Oh.
And I looked at him and said, there's no way I could do that. And then lunch break, I called May right away and say, hey, everything's vegetable. There's not even eggs.
And no cheese.
And no cheese.
I have to admit that I was addicted to cheese.
Yeah.
Even though as an Asian that I immigrated from Taiwan, cheese was a new dish for me in this country.
And it's amazing.
And yeah, I know, it's amazing. I was hooked.
Yes.
However, when we learn about what does that do to our body, then I was willing to make some changes. But not only that in that year, the end of the year, we actually went to American College of Lifestyle Medicine Conference. That is the largest organization to promote the lifestyle medicine, and we will get into what that means by lifestyle medicine. So when we were in that conference in San Diego, that was a 3-day conference, and I couldn't believe my eye. The first night when we had the at the conference, and about 700 healthcare professionals, literally you can only find less than 5 people. They may be a little bit chubby. The rest of them are very fit and happy, very active. And then I told Dr. Harmon, say something is not the same as what the usual conference we went. And so then he was very gentle. He told me that now you found out that there's something working here. So that was my wake up call. And so at that conference, Jen actually extended my stay at a hotel to be trained as a CHIP Complete Health Improvement Program facilitator. And my thought was occupied. My whole brain was occupied by what can I bring to the community. This is such great news that a way of practice medicine, we actually can give people the hope to practice a very sustainable medicine.
Just that you know that how far we have been. There was one time I went to a cardiology conference, and they were serving breakfast, cardiology, and they were serving sausage and bacon.
So back to because the knowledge we absorb really empower us to make the right choice, because I believe it and that really makes sense. So then we start from ourselves. Even though it's not a cold turkey immediately, because cheese is very addictive, so we try to gradually let go, but we can see in the immediate change. Jen, would you like to share with your own personal experience?
Dr. Harmon talked to me and say, well, why don't you try yourself? Start from your food. And I talked to ma'am that he said we should improve our diet. We're Asians. We're supposed to be very healthy. So we said, okay, let's give it a try. Not at that time we didn't go vegan. We went to a lot of really plant-based. And I think just within 3 months, I lost about 10 pounds.
And then your neck pain.
Because I was driving a lot to nursing home. I had a back pain. And of course, I literally had ibuprofen everywhere. In my car, in my drawer at home, in my drawer in my office, everywhere. And suddenly one day, Mason asked me, when was the last time you took ibuprofen? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And you brag about you wear the same size as our sons.
Yeah, the
Pant
pants. Well, except his were a little bit longer, but yeah, they're the same size.
Yeah.
And up to a point, May couldn't stand my clothes anymore. And she said, go shopping.
Go shopping. Yeah. And that's very fit. And I became very energetic. It just I
Too
had
energetic.
sometimes my children tease me that, Mom, do you have ADHD? Just cannot stop. So woke up very early, like 5 o'clock, and I just start my day with a lot of cooking, because that's my interest, and it's what I'm passionate about. My personal health transformation was my reflux situation actually got resolved. So, I mean, it's just unbelievable. So we were able to apply this to our patient. We are not here to convince people to be vegetarian or vegan, but we try to help people move their eating pattern from maybe 100% of a meat or 900% of a meat to 80% of a plant-based.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we talk about the lifestyle medicine. And it's not just nutrition. It also includes like a physical movement, passion, your sleep, your stress management, and social connection. And the good thing about this practice is, if someone coming in and say, there's no way I'm going to change my diet, I say, okay, that's fine. Let's look at your sleep. Let's look at your stress.
Sure.
We should always have something in the lifestyle pillar that we can work with.
So I how do I say this? I'm going to ask our audience, and see. You tell me if I'm right or not. But a great reason to go to Rochester Clinic and meet these two, if you're one of the millions of Americans that are taking medication, like I used to, and one of the medications at least is in there because of another medication you take, not really there to fix you, but to keep one of your other medications from hurting you.
Right.
You should come see you guys.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Definitely. Definitely.
And there's a lot of people in that situation.
Yeah.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of people in that situation.
Yeah.
I shared a story with you that here in the last few months I've managed to get off of medications. And the last one that I was taking, I called my doctor and I said, I still have, what is this one for? I was taking something every day. I really had no, I mean, now Google is out there, the information was there. So it's my fault I didn't know what it was for. And I'm sure I was probably told what it was for when they prescribed it. I don't remember, but I didn't know what it was for. And I asked and he tells me what it's for. And I'm like, am I really, is that a problem for me? He goes, and then he mentioned one of the medications that I had quit taking a month before that. And he said, well, that causes some real kidney issues. That's why or kidney and liver issues that's why you're on this. I was like, but I quit taking that a month ago, so shouldn't I be done with this? And he just kind of chuckled. Yeah, I guess we should. So yeah, you can just, he said you can dispose of those. You're done with those. But he took me off the other things and didn't take me off that one. But I was like, well, I don't remember why I'm taking this. Well, you're taking this because you were taking that. So this hits very close to home when I listen to you guys and talk about the lifestyle medicine, because I wouldn't give you guys the faith that I have in you if that's all you did. Do you know what I mean? Like I said earlier, if you were telling me, don't go to a doctor, don't go to Mayo Clinic, they're hacks, and then do this instead. But the fact that you guys are saying, do this and see how far we can go. And if there's trauma somewhere that we have to have a doctor for, then come in and we'll treat you as a doctor, rather than as a therapist. I mean, a nutritionist, whatever.
We are not against Mayo Clinic. We're not competing
absolutely.
with Mayo Clinic. Number one on Mayo alumni. It's always good because we're at my training.
Yeah.
But really, we're serving different populations, different purposes.
Yep.
We're in a more primary care setting, community setting. We don't have as many resources that Mayo Clinic or even OMC does.
Sure.
So more complicated thing that we're not equipped to treat.
Sure.
And secondly, we're really focusing.
But you're very, not to interrupt, sorry, but you guys are very transparent about that.
Right.
I mean, you tell people if they're better suited for their situation somewhere else. You tell them that. I mean, I've heard that. So and that means the world, that it's not just trying to captivate an audience. Yeah.
Thank you. And we also focus on more community, and I think that's
like
more
the garden. We'll talk about the garden.
Community one. I think that Mayor Kim Norton had to say that we're helping to promote community awareness that all the residents are healthy, so we can help Mayo Clinic take care of the rest of the country or the rest of the world.
Well, the more of us that aren't sick, the less the burden is on the whole system.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. It really is. Absolutely.
So I think because all our staff, sorry, I'm so excited now. I have my hand paused.
The hands are going.
And then like at the time our physician, anybody practice at our clinic, they embrace the concept that we are on the same page. They spend a lot of time at each appointment and talking about how great the nutrition is, and you need to move around and have how you can enhance your sleep. And I'm thinking about, wait a minute, how are we going to turn this around in this community with one visit at a time? So I think
it's an uphill battle. I mean, people.
Yeah.
I think, and not to sound defeatist, but I do think there's a lot of people that just aren't ready for that, and they need someone like you guys that's passionate about it, that believes in it, and knows it can work to get the message out. Because
definitely,
yeah, I mean that's
not only that, is private practice in reality is a small business.
right. Absolutely.
So when insurance company only pay us for $100, and an MD spent an hour talking about food,
yeah,
doesn't pay.
right.
So I also, before I jump into the next conversation, I want to make a comment that we actually have our own niche. We consider lifestyle medicine is a specialty. We are confident, we are well trained, and have a full knowledge to help a patient in this on this specialty. We collaborate with other specialty at the other hospital or clinic, so we do refer our patient to the specialty when it's needed, and we work very close on that matter.
Yeah, so in 2019, lifestyle medicine is recognized by American Medical Association, which controls the healthcare in the U.S. And they recognize lifestyle medicine as a true specialty. So now everyone can say, I'm a lifestyle medicine specialist. And then American College of Lifestyle Medicine even provides something called the lifestyle medicine residency program. So the residency program can adopt the lifestyle medicine curriculum. The Mayo Clinic has the physical medicine rehab and also family medicine. The two residency programs offer the lifestyle medicine curriculum.
Okay.
And you are board certified in lifestyle medicine.
Right. There's about a dozen in.
Can we take a little detour? I have some questions.
Yeah, sure.
I think maybe these are questions that would interest people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've said it a couple times. We're Asian,
Yes.
right? So, and you made the foreigner comment. My question is, especially with you guys so knowledgeable in medicine and now in food, nutrition, the lifestyle medicine, when you look at the U.S., our food here, right, compared to when we say we're Asian, you look at the Asian communities, when you go to other Asian countries, half of the things that we eat here aren't even allowed. We're, in Asia, in many parts of the world. I mean, I actually won a bet with a friend of mine years ago after having a foreign exchange student from Sweden. And her mom, her dad owns a insurance company, like actually owns the company itself, not just an agent, but the company, nationwide company in Sweden. And then her mom is a social worker and a nutritionist. And so they're telling us about how, like, Doritos, they had Cool Ranch Doritos. They'd never heard of Nacho Doritos.
Oh.
And I thought, well, Cool Ranch Doritos is relatively new in comparison. Nacho Doritos has been around since I was a kid. Cool Ranch has not. But then her mom's like, yeah, you don't feed our daughter that. Don't let her eat that. That's that red dye. And, and they were going on about different things. And then we talked about aspartame. So my question is, that's how hard was that for you guys when you start looking at the food that everybody's buying? The grocery stores are just loaded with all these toxins. I mean, that had to be a real motivator, didn't it?
Right. To us, it's a motivation to help our patients, but at the same time, the frustration. We go to the grocery store. I think we train our own mind. They just ignore those aisles.
Well, but I guess maybe a better way to ask this is, if you were back in Taiwan, for instance, and doing what you're doing here, but had Rochester Clinic in Taiwan, you wouldn't have to. The education side of what you're doing wouldn't be nearly as important as it is here.
Still the same.
Still the same.
Still the same.
Yeah.
So number one thing is the U.S. food invades the whole world.
Oh.
McDonald's.
Okay. Yeah, I guess maybe I didn't think of it that way.
Okinawa is one of the blue zones. That was in Japan, one of the blue zones. It almost got taken off blue zone because they introduced the McDonald's.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So
Kentucky
the food
Fried
isn't
Chicken.
that much better?
Fast food.
And then that's another thing is the Asian cooking, they still have their issues. It's not perfect.
Okay.
So a lot of people, they talk about plant-based, but they feel like because it's plant-based, you feel hungry, so you need to have a lot of oil. So they cook with a lot of vegetable oil, or they deep fry with oil. So that they give you more oil, so the food can stay in your stomach longer.
Okay, so on the oil topic, and I don't want to. This is not a political show at all, so we don't want to get into politics. But I do have a question: what your feelings are on RFK Jr. coming in and potentially taking over our Department of Health? Because he talks about all these. Like seed oils are just toxic. I don't have an opinion on that. I mean, I've used canola oil, we've used vegetable oil, we've used all these oils over the years. The wife and I, a few years ago, we went to just using mostly olive oil or coconut oil. And I don't know that we're healthier because of it, but I like it, I guess. And it cooks well with us. We like the flavors and things, but is that a big concern? All these oils? I mean, I really hear RFK, he really goes off on that. And is that accurate?
My concern is the oil itself, not seed oil.
Okay.
Because oil is still processed.
Sure.
You still have a lot of calories inside. And so, for example, people talk about Mediterranean diet, olive oil, so we eat olive oil. But when you look at the true Mediterranean diet, the olive oil is very minimal.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that it's good, then you need to drink it.
Sure.
So we tend to amplify the benefits. And so my problem is the oil in general, not that.
Okay.
I want to make a comment about food because I have modified my cooking based on the principle I have learned. We are not just talking about the food, vegetables, and we still emphasize the salt, sugar, oil as minimal as possible. At our home, we don't have a refined sugar. Period.
Okay.
When we talking about whole food means that we try to use the unprocessed ingredient that provide you the mineral and also nutrient and fiber that your body can digest better, can give you the benefits. So even for the Asian cooking, a lot of cooking, they use a lot of oil and then the big flame to stir fry. So that,
Which is delicious.
I know it's delicious, smells good, but actually
Smells great.
not good for our body.
Sure.
Right.
So those are the principles we learned through what we have offered to the community is called the Complete Health Improvement Program. We provide education about how the cancer being formed, why cause the diabetes, those kind of a topic. So we have to be mindful about the ingredient we use, and because we see the difference when we be able to help our patient client make the improvement and like for example even reduce the inflammation on their body. They even don't feel the pain on the arthritis, the arthritis, the issue go away. And also that help with the emotional health. We're talking about mental health because this country is so addicted to sugar. If you go to the breakfast aisle for children, what can you pick for children for your breakfast? It pretty much you put the sugar on their hand, say, take the sugar.
Yeah.
The sugar is so toxic. Jen, you want to elaborate on?
Well, when you have a sugar, especially carbohydrate, refined carbohydrate, it's just that sugar. You take it, you get an instant spike right away, the sugar spike. And so in children, for example, the cereal, commercial cereal, is pretty much like refined sugar. And when they eat it, what happened to it? When you have a sugar spike, you are very excited, you're hyper.
Yep.
So the kids in the first 2 hours in school, they cannot focus. They're so hyper with all the sugar.
And then they crash.
Yes, because that's the problem with refined carbohydrate. You have a big spike and then you get a quick drop.
Yep.
And when you have quick drop, what happened to the kids? They cannot concentrate, and they have no energy. So they are hyperactive in the 2 hours, and then suddenly they cannot even pay attention to it.
Yeah, ready for a nap.
So what do we do? We diagnose them with ADHD.
Right. We medicate them.
Right.
Yep.
So Harvard University did a research years ago. They changed the breakfast, and the diagnosis of ADHD reduced by 40%.
Yeah.
Well, I know I'm 53, so I was born in 1971. And, when I was growing up, it was a single income family. We didn't have a ton of money, but my dad worked hard and my mom was home with us, with the kids. But when we'd go to school every morning, it was, you were getting eggs or you had a little ham or bacon. But it was a meal. And, we didn't buy cereals for the most part. We really, every once in a while it was a treat, we'd have something sugary or sweet, but that wasn't the norm back then.
And then the problem is right now a lot of products are refined and engineered and designed by the big company to let you addicted to it's pretty much salt, sugar, and
so that's why I was going to say that we recommend reading the book Salt, Sugar, Fat, How the Food Giants Hook Us by Michael Moss.
Okay.
Pay me.
yeah.
So then I will tell you how they engineer the food to the point that literally you cannot just have one. So that advertisement, you can't just have one.
I just had that conversation with a friend of mine today. We were in the grocery store, and she came up and she was very flattering, but she was like, "You've lost weight," and I was like, "Well, I have actually." She was like, I don't mean to get personal, but I got to ask how much. And I'm like, well, about 76 pounds. And you know what? Which to me, that's a lot.
Yes.
And she's like, well, I'm just starting myself. I'm just starting a diet this week because she said she's gained some weight and she wanted to know what I did. And we talked about that a bit. And she said, my struggle is if I eat a potato chip, I can't stop.
Right.
If I have a small handful of popcorn, I can't stop. You know.
Right.
And if I make a sandwich, we even went to like I make a sandwich. You cut it in half, eat half. You're going to eat the other half. It's there. You already made it. You know.
Right.
The only way you eat half a sandwich is if you make half a sandwich. You know. It's and so with this, we just had this conversation that we don't buy things. We don't have things in front of us that we can just have in moderation. It's very difficult.
No, the problem is the engineer use your brain to tell you that you want to keep eating. So they look at not only how much sugar inside, how much salt inside, how much fat inside, even the sound. And that's why potato chips. How
It's satisfying.
The pleasure point.
Yeah, it's
Right.
very
It's
satisfying.
called
The
a-
crunch. I mean,
the bliss point, how much
Yep.
sugar inside, not too much, not too little.
Yep.
So that's all engineered right there.
well, I know we talked about cheese not being necessarily a good thing, but I was watching a young lady that she does like TikTok reels and Facebook reels, things like that, and she's always putting healthier things. She cooks and she's very entertaining, and one of the things that she says is like potato chips. If you're dieting and you miss that satisfying crunch, I just watched this. Not even I was waiting for you guys to get here. So it was an hour ago, so it made me think of you. She says that her solution was little chunks or little triangles of thinly sliced Colby Jack cheese. Put them and bake them for like 25 minutes at, I think 35 minutes at 250 degrees, let them cool, and they turn into like a crunchy chip. Now it's cheese. And like she said, she goes, this is not the healthiest of treats, but it's much better than the alternative, than the chips and whatnot. And so, but it's just funny you say that, because even that's where she said that satisfying crunch. You know, it's like, the sound of food matters. I mean, even that, it's just something that, and you don't think about that.
Right, and in terms of the food, we don't like to say it's vegan or no, because the patient.
Yeah, if I hear vegan, I'm just like, bye, I'm out.
They'll be drinking pop, eating candy, still vegan. And I also, when my patient used to like to talk to me and say, when I say don't eat this, don't eat that, and they say, but it's vegan. But I say it's organic.
Oh,
I say, yeah, but did you realize the plaque in your heart is also organic?
yeah, sure.
So I think with our clinic size is small and we have so much to share. So the end of 2015, we decide to do something to make it bigger, be able to share this information with the general public. So we started a nonprofit organization called Lotus Health Foundation. That allow us to, it's a 501c3, allow us to apply for funding, accept the donation. So
I want to talk about Lotus. Because when people hear about Lotus, the first reaction is, oh, because you're Asian. Lotus.
Yes.
You're Asian.
Yes.
No. Lotus is because lotus grow out of mud to have the beautiful flower. It's just our current society.
Sure.
This lifestyle, we consider just like mud. You want to go through that phase,
Yeah.
and to have the beautiful flower.
That transformation.
the transformation.
Yep, absolutely.
And so so whenever we see anyone be able to step out of the mud, their sedentary lifestyle, and we see them as a beautiful lotus, and our goal is to create a community of lotus. Not only that, we want to bring this concept to the other community so people can replicate in their place, like in a Twin City, like other state. So we started the
Wisconsin.
So we started this nonprofit, and then in 2017 we start our first community of wellness symposium. I think the name of the conference was started by Jen. You make that because he believing in the community effort.
Well, initially, my thinking was we called it Weekend of Wellness. Wow.
Right. I like that.
But then
Yeah.
it was just like, no, we really need to put a community there. So it became community wellness. Now it's a cow.
Cow.
Happy cow.
Happy cow.
So
vegan.
yeah.
Vegan cow. What?
So we actually invite, because we are Rochester Clinic. A lot of people don't know about us, and we pretty much cherry pick the world-renowned speakers from the network we created at the American College of Lifestyle Medicine Conference, 1 year at a time. And now this year is on our 7th year of the annual conference. We have about more than 15 speakers from Canada, from Loma Linda in California, and Washington, D.C., and local experts to share their knowledge with the community. Not only that, we also connected those speakers to Mayo Clinic conducted grand round to bring this information to healthcare provider, the top-notch healthcare provider in the country. So it's very eye-opening. A lot of physicians, they didn't receive enough nutrition education during the medical school. They really appreciate that information. So I think our goal has been gradually toward that I should say that what we desired for. So we educate pretty much at all level. So when we invite our speakers to present at the community, they specific talked to the public in the layman term.
Sure.
So even though they are MDs, DOs, or Dr. Li's podiatrists, and we have a physician, the physical therapist, but they would bring the term into the general English and allow the public to understand. But when they speak at a Mayo Clinic grand round, they make it a very professional academic talk.
What's an impressive list of speakers that you
yeah.
have? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the topic we will cover this year from the Alzheimer prevention,
Alzheimer's,
diabetes,
we had the breast cancer.
And is it true that Alzheimer's is type 3 diabetes?
Well, some people like to call it that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's accurate?
Right. Because
Okay.
the protein is the beta protein, everything that is similar to what we will get in the glycation from the diabetes. Just I will check the A1C.
Okay.
and even depends on the guideline of this country. Our country has the lower expectation, lower guideline in terms of cholesterol and also diabetes.
Education. It goes all over.
I think people usually say,
Sadly.
well, ask them, what is your cholesterol or what is your glucose? And they always say, oh, my doctor say it's in the normal range. I say it doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
Because the normal range basically means the average in the population. If our population, everyone has high cholesterol, our normal range is
Right.
higher than the rest of
Right.
the world. So it's normal range. It doesn't mean it's optimal.
Yeah.
So I usually tell patients that we don't want it in the normal range. It's not normal. We want optimal.
Yeah. It's funny. I had this conversation with a client of mine at my auto shop today because she's driving a vehicle and it's making a funny noise. And so she wanted us to look at it. We looked at it and she said, well, my normal mechanic, I'm kind of trying to venture out, but my normal mechanic that I've been going to for years just said, that's normal. And I kind of smiled. She goes, what's that smile for? What's that look for? I don't know you. So what does that mean? I was like, well, that particular engine, they're not awesome. They're not, it's not a great engine. So this noise, it's fairly common in that particular engine. It's not okay. It's broken. I mean, it's wearing out. It's going to fail. And that noise is telling you that it's coming. It's going to fail. So is it normal? That I struggle with normal. It's very common in that engine because they fail. But it's not okay. It's
Right.
not. And to me, if it's not okay, I can't use the word normal. I can't say that's normal. It's not okay. That means you're going to have an expensive repair coming. So I said, it runs. So right now it's time to either, trade it off or fix it, or at least be aware that an expensive repair is coming. That's all. You don't have to fix it today, because if we fix it today or we wait till it's broken, it's the same repair in this particular, in this instance. Or sometimes we tell people fix it now before it gets real expensive. This is one where the repair is going to be the same. But again, you're back to your point. Is it common? Yes. On that particular engine, it's very common. It's not okay. It's not right. And so, yeah, to try and make yourself feel better by saying, oh, it's normal. Well, if normal's not great, then right.
And then the topic also you're talking about the insulin resistance. So even before we get to the point that, okay, you are qualified to be diagnosed as diabetes. In fact, our body probably already developed the insulin resistance for several years. And then what is a big deal when your body has an insulin resistance? That affect many organs in our body.
Right. As simple as your muscle. If you feel like I feel I'm very strong, but how come I have fatigue when I go to the gym? Now, sometimes insulin resistance will cause that.
Sure.
And then your cholesterol going up, your glucose is going up, and you may start to build up your blood vessels, and you should have what we call it fibromyalgia. You have pain over. Where does it come from? So that's something like that.
And then also the affect our brain cell, so
Yes.
will cause the
Brain
cognitive and cognitive health decline. Of course, now you see a lot more people concerned about Alzheimer.
Right.
So this is what we want to bring to the public, that we don't just treat brain or just treat your foot. All the organ and system are connected, right? When you have a headache, you need to find the root cause. When you have a nail in your foot, you don't just put a Band-Aid. You need to pull out the nail,
Right.
So that's a common sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And good thing is, when we talk about lifestyle medicine, when you work trying to do something for your heart, it actually is helping your brain at the same time. It's helping your kidney at the same time. It's helping your feet at the same time. It's all together. And then there's no special diet for your heart, special diet for your brain. It's the same diet.
Right. It's for your body.
Right.
The entire body cleansing. I have to say, and then beside that, we also have the physician, Dr. Remers, that he's going to talk about hormone. A lot of people, they have a hormone issue, and they have been shuffled backed by their physician, say, because of your aging. We have a patient say, well, I'm only 39. And you cannot blame everything on aging, because we are promoting the healthy aging. We want to be active as long as possible. We want to die young as late as possible, because we want to be around with our next generation. We want to be around with our friends.
Right. It doesn't mean that when we get older, we'll have all the problems. I don't know how many people remember we used to have a 114-year-old lady in our region. I saw her since she was 112 until she passed away at 114. You could not tell she was 112, 114.
Really?
Her mind was sharp. That was my mistake. I asked her medical history, and we had to go back to when she was 7 years old.
That's a lot of
never
history.
do that again. But, she was able to walk, even though with a walker.
Sure.
Well, she had a walker, and she had to move to assisted living because she was on her own on the farm, and she did all the shoveling, everything herself.
Wow.
So she had a walker, but she was walking around, and her mind was sharp, and so it doesn't mean that your memory is normal aging, or you couldn't walk because of normal aging. No, it's not.
Yeah.
And another special guest that we have is Gail Van Kempen. Yes, and so she is a retired nurse practitioner from Mayo Clinic, and then she has been using in the past. She used the Reiki medicine to help people, and now this time she's going to teach people how to have a self-care how to take care of yourself, and then she's going to pass on some tool about doing the self-care, and she's going to bring the sun bowls to do the sun bowl healing, because the tone of the bowl actually can help everybody tune their brain and be able to ground it. So we will have a beautiful sound bowl rejuvenation in one of the mornings. And not to mention, for the 2-day symposium on April 17 and 18, we have a beautiful breakfast and lunch buffet that feature many guest speakers' special recipe. So the food that we can brag about. We also, anybody concerned about their weight, we do have the very famous podcast host, Chuck Carroll. He is the weight loss champion by 265 pounds. He is an inspiration. And Dr. Amisu, a lot of people in Rochester know about his great work, and cardiology is here. So we have a great lineup, and cover from sleep to kids nutrition to hormone, everything. So this is the great event that is going to host at a Mayo Civic Center that shouldn't have no one should miss it.
Awesome.
And the cost is actually not much more than our cost for the food.
So pretty much it's a giveaway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Great.
Early
Great.
bird registration is the February 28th.
So how do they find you, or how do they get tickets?
They can go on to lotushealthfoundation.org website, and then we have a link right there. I know that we kind of want to make sure that people really take advantage of this great opportunity. But in the meantime, Jerry, I do not forget that we should bring up our community garden.
Yes.
And the purpose of a community garden is we try to share with the people the concept that food is the medicine.
Not only that, the garden serves the purpose for lifestyle medicine. Now you have we call it a constant gentle movement when you're walking around in the garden, and then you have the social networking, network with other gardeners. You reduce your stress by seeing that. Of course, you have the nutritious food coming from the ground, and everything is organic. We don't put anything there. Yeah.
And we use the no-till method, and beauty of that is we invite the volunteers from the community. Last year we had a big group of the students, medical students from Mayo Clinic. They
Awesome.
have a lifestyle medicine interest group, so they come here and they learn about the plants. And every time when the volunteers were here, we make the food from the garden, the fresh produce to pick out of garden. And it also pass on the recipes so people can learn. We even host a lot of a cooking demo right by the site. We dispense the vegetables to our patients. People who want to try something. They all free, and we give away the recipe. We still have a surplus. All the produce last year we yield about 3,300 pounds.
Wow,
so we were
awesome.
able to donate those extra produce to other nonprofit organization. I think that serves as remember that passion. That serve a purpose for whoever involved. They feel great about, wow, I do something to help other people in the community.
And we also have a mushroom garden inside the community garden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We should mention too, because this podcast will likely be out there for a long time. This event they're talking about is for this year, which is 2025. Just FYI, if this, as we get past this, and you're watching this podcast episode later, but yeah, it's April 17th and 18th of 2025 in Rochester.
It's an annual event, so if you miss it, next April.
Then next April, well, keep us in mind. Absolutely. And what is the website for the clinic? Is it
RochesterClinic.com.
Okay, so RochesterClinic.com, and you'll have links there to the Lotus Foundation. And so if you use RochesterClinic.com, that will get you to all of this information. You can use that as your hub so that you can see Dr. Lai and May, and stop by their facility, take a look around, get an idea of what they can help you with. And like I said, if you are one of the millions that are taking one medication to counteract another one so that you can keep going to the doctor, give these guys a try. Give
Yes.
them a call, see what they can help with if there's another alternative out there.
Right.
Anything else you guys would like to cover before we go? We've been a little over an hour, so we're there. But
we can have a conversation for another day. So
oh yes, I say this. Yes, would you guys mind coming back and doing it again?
Absolutely.
That would be wonderful. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, everybody, Dr. Lai and May, thanks for coming out. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
opportunity. Thank you.